Let's take love as an umbrella. Compassion is part of that umbrella.
Compassion is the kind of empathy that you feel for somebody who is going through anything negative.
To grow in love, you need to have compassion.
Being compassionate makes you vulnerable.
If someone is suffering and you know the person has hurt you before and you want to help the person, just help the person. Don't let the person's action change who you are.
Whenever you are in the state where you need to show compassion, it means that automatically you have a certain power, you have a certain abundance of love. So if you have the power, how do you use the power? So this is about the use of power, actually.
At this point,
So my people, be all correct.
hello everyone. You are welcome back to another episode of our podcast. And today we have a very interesting topic for you guys. And I want you to stay tuned to learn and to unlearn some things. Okay, so before I start, I would like to introduce my fellow panelists with me. So with me, I have
Gifty
Okay, so I'm Philip or Mr. Boatin.
Nice.
ish.
So, right, today's topic is quite an interesting one. It's about
Sure.
love.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's about love and compassion. Love and compassion. And the theme for today's topic is to love is to help. Right. So please sit back and watch and learn from us. Thank you. So I'll start with Gifty. Gifty, when we say
Really?
compassion, right? What do we mean by that?
So I don't know if I should start with love first because I have this whole scenario, right? About let's take love as an umbrella and like the main umbrella. And sorry, but I want to define love first before I can get to compassion, if that's okay.
Feel free.
Okay, so I want to describe love as the big umbrella, right? Where compassion is part of that umbrella. You know, when a single person is holding an umbrella and you are walking, other someone can join, right? Yes.
Mm.
So love is more like if a deep feeling of affection, caring for someone, and connecting with someone, right? And compassion being part of that umbrella, you can say compassion is more like giving or bringing out a helping hand to help someone. I mean, just repeat the word to help someone. Yes. Compassion comes with love. I don't know if it makes sense, but yeah.
Right. Uncle Philip.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Boatin, sorry.
I think I'll also start from love first.
Right.
So according to the Bible, I'm a Christian, so I like to base things based on the Bible. Yeah. So according to the Bible, it says that when it comes to relationships, let me take it from relationships. It says that the husband should love the wife like Christ loved the church. So for a husband to love the wife over there means that the husband has to know how to die for the wife because that's what Christ did for the church. So Christ died for the church. And then he says that what the woman should respect the husband. So in this sense as well, it means that what respect for the husband is love. So love has to do with, so many other things. Respect is a very important one, which people are not really concentrating on in this age. That's why I wanted to go there. So compassion is also part of love. So compassion is the kind of empathy that you feel
For somebody.
for somebody who is going through anything negative, like somebody who is suffering from something. Like you see the person going through it, and then you like almost like putting yourself in the person's shoes to feel what the person is feeling.
So
Right.
as you also agree to what Gifty also said about
Yes,
compassion.
definitely.
Right. So to us again, is there a difference between love and compassion? Or do they relate some way somehow?
They relate some way, somehow. I mean, they relate.
Right.
Because, like I said at the ending, when it comes to compassion, it comes in the form of love. I show compassion to you because I love you. It's more like I'm trying to help you because you are suffering. Do you get it? Like I'm trying to bring out a helping hand to you because you are
I'm trying
suffering.
to be there for
Yeah,
you.
to be there for you because Bibi Okoso.
Mhm.
But in love, we have this type,
Different, yeah.
yes, different types of love. So I can love you without showing compassion. I
Yeah.
can. I
I
mean,
can
you
have
get
the
it.
romantic love and then
Yeah,
not show
all that.
compassion. I
And don't
just
show.
want to enjoy the baby and
Yeah,
then that's it.
exactly.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm flip. Looks like you want something to say. You want
Oh
to
no, I
you say you
actually
want
I
something to
actually heard something that I was trying to put my head in the right space. So is it the same question to me?
What do you mean by put your head in the right place? Like I don't understand. Like you have to share what is in your mind. You can't let
So
it
okay, so for compassion, I feel like if love is 100%, compassion is somewhere around 60%.
60?
Yeah, 60%
It's not supposed
of
to be
love.
100.
No, because
Why?
you can actually show compassion for somebody and not necessarily
Love the
love the
person.
person.
Okay, so like those people, for instance, those people that you see them on the street, right?
Yeah,
You don't love them,
yeah, but
but
you
they are
can.
begging.
They are
You feel
begging,
like you
so
have to
like
give
you
them
feel
some.
empathetic.
It's because
Yes.
no, you are. I think
It
you
is
are
a form of
helping them.
love, but not like the broad sense of.
So there's a difference between love and compassion.
Yes, there's a
Yes,
difference.
that one.
There's
Yeah.
a clear difference.
So,
I
okay, so we can't really replace love with
Do
compassion
you
or
know that
compassion with love.
you can actually hate somebody and then still have compassion for the person? You can hate somebody, right? But you see what the person is going through, and it's like if you have had that experience before, you almost put yourself in the person's shoes, and then you feel.
and I
That's
think
the
it is because of who you are.
Yes.
that's the
I think
empathy.
that comes because of who you are. Naturally, I can see someone suffering, and because I have been in that shoes before.
Yeah.
So I would want to help the person. That makes me me because that's how I am.
So that
You get
doesn't
it? But
love the
yeah,
person.
that does.
What about if the person is not your friend, the person is like your enemy? They can. Yeah.
And I'm still supposed to help the person out,
No,
even though I don't love the
showing
person.
compassion. Okay, so it just ends at the empathetic side. So you may not help the person, but then you are just in that space, feeling what the person is feeling in a way.
But we know compassion is also showing kindness.
Yes,
to
it's showing
somebody.
kindness.
Also
Yes.
taking actions to help somebody when the person is
Yeah.
Yes.
worrying. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Because if you realize the scripture that says that when Jesus realized the people that were following him were hungry,
Yeah.
he told them that they should gather at this particular point,
Yeah.
and then he had to get food for them because they were hungry. That is compassion.
Yes.
You and your sibling, right? You may be fighting with your sibling, but trust me, if your sibling calls you right now saying, "I need money," you have,
Oh, that one day.
you will give it to your sibling. Yeah. So
see.
that's like
Sibling.
the compassionate aspect of you.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Unless
know.
they are very wicked.
And because when you're laughing him is like you are
Oh.
against that one.
No.
anyways, it was just to pull your legs. Sorry about
Sure.
that. Okay, so moving on to my next question, right?
Yeah.
How does vulnerability, right, play a role in showing compassion? Because we just established that to be compassionate about something, you have to have empathy, that is
Yeah.
understanding
Sure.
and willing to help out.
Sure.
So, how does vulnerability play a role in compassion?
So can I talk?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is a
So I
free-
think vulnerability has to do with openness, right? Opening yourself to feel what the person is feeling. And if you open yourself to feel what the person is feeling, that is it comes inside. If I see someone limping right now, if I open myself, if I open my senses to if I'm limping to how would I feel? Like how would I.
But what if I do not?
What if you?
No, it's like
I do not.
I'm
put
just
my,
trying
like,
to make a scenario
I
here.
get you perfectly, but using your same scenario, right? What if I do not open myself to see the person limping? I'm not imagining that.
You're
What
not
if it was
moved.
me?
Then you're not
Imagine-
compassionate.
But yes, like I'm compassionate to give him like money or to help him out.
You see, you're using the word compassionate.
If you are not moved up here, there's no way you give anybody anything.
So it means based on what we are saying right now, right?
Yeah.
It means that in order to show compassion, right, you also have to be vulnerable.
You have to open yourself to that situation.
But
Put
what if I know-
yourself.
Because I know vulnerability too deals with trust, right?
Mhm.
Because I am letting you into my space. I am trying to open up myself to try and
You are
understand.
vulnerable. I don't think you would even think whether you should trust the person or not. I think you open yourself no matter what.
In terms of
In
relationship,
terms of relationship, you open yourself no matter what, whether you trust the person or not.
even when you have been.
It doesn't matter. I think if you are vulnerable, you will do it without trusting the person, or without having that kind of
But
sense
I
of
I
trust.
think relationship is built on trust.
But
That's
we are
the
talking about
fundamental.
vulnerability.
Yeah, exactly.
And
No, the
I'm
reason why I'm asking
So
that, right, is because one of the attributes of vulnerability is that you trust the person to be able to open up to the person. Now, are you vulnerable to your mom?
oh yes.
Exactly. You see, some of us here are with our parents, all right, but we are not really open to our parents. Does that mean that we are not showing compassion to our parents?
I think we need to define what vulnerability
Yeah.
is to
Yeah.
actually understand. Understand?
Sure, because I know vulnerability is opening up yourself, trusting
Yes,
somebody
being
with.
exposed to a situation in which you can be harmed either physically or emotionally.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
you
like,
still open
yes,
up.
putting
Yeah.
putting yourself in that place. But then it's not like by force that you always have to,
Be vulnerable.
yes, put yourself in that space. No, it is not like, it's not,
It's not like a compulsory something.
yes,
It's not a
that you're
mandatory
supposed to
something that.
be vulnerable or something like that. You can still show compassion without being vulnerable,
So how does that
because there's a
play?
negative and positive parts of being
So how
vulnerable.
does vulnerability play a role in compassion?
For me,
I
I
think we should
think
go back to the question.
I think you can't be compassionate if you are not vulnerable, no
Mhm.
matter what, right? Because we define compassionate as you helping someone when they are
Understanding, showing
suffering, right?
empathy. Yeah.
So if you are vulnerable, to me, if you are vulnerable, whether I trust you or not, if you need help, I will help you.
Oh, the
I
way
will
you're
not.
even talking, 'cause we know that you give.
If you break my trust, right? I always tell people, don't let someone dim your light. If you are light, don't let someone turn you into a darkness. If someone is suffering and you know the person has hurt you before, if you don't trust the person and you want to help the person, just help the person. Don't let the person's action change who you are.
All
You
right.
get it?
All
Like, we
right.
are getting into forgiveness and then all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it actually plays a
No,
role in
it's
order.
I'm
But
trying to
that's
make a
yeah.
scenario here.
Like
Sure.
that's really being vulnerable because you're
Yeah.
not going to allow the past hurt of the person affect
Affects
the
my
compassion you want to
yes.
show. Yeah.
So right now, I feel like being compassionate makes you vulnerable.
Of
If
course.
you really want to show compassion properly, it would make you
You
vulnerable in the
have
long
to
run.
open up.
Yeah.
Yes, and then there are positive and negative parts of it.
Oh, that one
Yeah.
for
Because the
everything.
the positive part is the trust that you build with the person. Since you have shown, you listen to the person's story, and you might also share yours. So it means that right now you're opening yourself up. So if the person accepts your story, it means that the person also trusts you more with more information to tell you about. But
That's
if the
even
person
about
rejects,
relationship. Yeah.
you can also be open to someone. A person you feel like rejected at the end.
You can even use that in relationship.
Mhm.
Like we've had past hits, right?
Yes,
And then now the new person I want to settle with, I have
That
to
trauma.
really trust
the
the person
person.
to be able to communicate my traumas that I had in my
Yes,
past.
and you start communicating the trauma, and the person is like, eh.
You get it. That's the because like
Then
I
it's
really
like,
like I want to
wait,
settle
so
with you now. But I also want you to know my past experiences
Yeah.
for you to know like why I act the way I act, right?
sure.
So it means that with both parties, we have to be compassionate at the same time. We have to be vulnerable with ourselves
Yes.
in order to build the relationship for
Yeah.
it to stand.
So that's when, if it works well, you can build deeper connections with the person. You can be
But if it
more
doesn't work,
intimate with the
But then the
person.
bad aspect is, people do not respond well with it because let me say I am vulnerable. I like giving and all that. The fact that somebody hurts
has
me or
done
whatever,
something.
exactly. So if people help people so that next time if they need help, they expect you to. So I think when it comes to vulnerability and compassion, you shouldn't be in expectation. But some people mistakenly are in expectation, right? I help you, and one day I'll come and ask you to help me, and I don't get the same response. And
That's
it
the
will
human mind.
exactly
We
it
all
will
like
create.
one way or the other.
I think that's the. I mean,
think
it's a risk, but it's worth it. I think it's worth it.
Yeah, ideally as a Christian, right, you should not expect that the help you are giving out there should come back to
Yeah.
you. I think that's one thing we have to establish.
Yeah.
Being compassionate means it has to be all round. whether you want to do it or whether you don't want to do it, whether
Yeah.
you're expecting something in return or
Or
not.
not.
It has to be a nature that you have with you.
But
But with the vulnerability part, it
Mhm.
takes a lot of trust
Yeah.
to be able to open up, to be vulnerable to somebody, honestly. Because if I don't trust my partner, there's no way I'm going to open up about some things to my partner, even though I have compassion for him. I'm being kind, I am understanding and all that.
Okay, so I think with that one too, there's a way around it. The timing is also important.
Yeah, so that's like there's
You don't tell somebody everything about your life during the very first moment of a relationship. You cause the person to run for cover.
we are in love.
Yes, so you need to regulate
I
what
think
you are really
ladies, we fall
know.
victim of that.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm not part.
you should know
Yeah.
when to tell
Sorry,
him or her
ladies said she
what,
fall fast.
and then know that. And then sometimes you might even want to wait for the person to also be in a vulnerable state to open up. Then you can also open up at the same level.
Yeah,
I,
you
I
know,
think it's
that's
built on trust.
does
That's
vulnerability only have to do with like opening up your stories or something?
no, yeah,
Yeah,
vulnerability is availing
it's
yourself.
opening
Like
up and
you're
then putting yourself into
making the person enter that
different
circle of
situations.
yours,
Yes,
right? You're not going to hide anything from the person.
and then at that point you don't have any shield, you don't have anything covering
So
you.
let's take it in a point of friendship, right? Where we want to be compassionate to someone that we've been friends with before, but circumstances happens, right? And we are no more friends. So does that mean that if I don't trust the person, if I've not really, really opened up myself, if the person doesn't really, really know my story, if the person comes to me for help, does that mean that I shouldn't help the person because
What we are
the
saying.
That's a difference.
That's vulnerability, right? It's like a stage. It's something gradual, right?
Mhm.
Maybe today, gift the way I'll relate with you will be like on a normal basis.
Yeah.
I'll show you the love and everything.
Yeah.
But as we build the friendship, I begin to tell you some things that like I have gone through and I want to share because now I believe in you. I trust in you.
Okay.
And I'm ready to risk whatever that I have gone through
help.
to you because I know I trust you enough that you'll not go and betray me
Okay.
anyway.
Yeah.
Do you get it? So I think it's good. As Uncle Philip was saying, it's something you grow on. It's not something that like when you just get up and now you just be vulnerable to something. And I think that's what most of us ladies should really take into consideration. It's not just everyone we just get vulnerable to because the person is providing for you or something like that. You need to really trust that this that you're telling the person, right? Is he going to really be someone, even if he leaves you, he's still going to keep what you have told him.
I know, right?
So let's also like work on that because we ladies, we are come on, we are vulnerable when we get one or two or like
Some of
our
you.
And then the gentleman too, you shouldn't run away as soon as you are being told too many things at the same time.
Right. The person is a saint now.
happens, life happens. Even
Should-
Jesus Christ, that's a second chance. So
Tarry
Okay.
longer.
I beg you, like give us just understand.
Okay.
Right. So moving on to the next question, right? What, as we stated earlier about some benefits that we get from being compassionate and then being vulnerable, can you now like in depth state some of the benefits we get from showing compassion, from being vulnerable to our various partners or even our friends?
Oh.
Yeah.
So like Philip said, you build some kind of trust, right? Where if something is wrong with you, you can run to the person to go and talk to the person. Yeah. And I think naturally you build some kind of helping hand somewhere. Because if you are vulnerable and you are compassionate, right? It's like when you need help, you don't even have to state it because the person already knows you. When you need help, the person is there.
Mhm.
So you build some kind of helping,
Trust.
yes, some kind of helping hand somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mr. Boateng.
um the positive part of vulnerability, right? So it builds like deeper connections, like deeper intimacy with somebody because you actually know the person. Like she says, like somebody can be going through something and the person has not even told you about it. You can be in the public space with, somebody you are with, and then something will happen and then she react in a way, and then you should know that this is maybe you have inside information into a past trauma or something like that, triggers or something, and then you know how to shield the person. And then the person can also trust you more, can also trust because she told you and you didn't go and tell everybody all of that. Or you guys had a quarrel and then you didn't rub it in her face or something like that.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Rubbing it in her face or his
Yes.
face. Because
Because
sometimes our emotions can escalate.
and then something you told somebody in earnest and the person will just bring it out. And then it is even more traumatic when it is, in the open space, it is in public,
Yeah.
not when you are even, somewhere
Heartbreak.
together.
Heartbreak.
So
Um,
it happens.
Yeah.
okay. So I think with that, let me say after instilling trust, right? The next one is you become your true self. Because the point of relationship, right? I've been in a relationship where the person wasn't real to me, right? I think because he didn't really, really know
He
me
didn't,
that well.
yeah, to trust you
To
enough
trust
about
me
some
enough
things.
about some things. So it got to the point where the trust was there. So you could see that he's flowing. He keeps flowing with
Yeah.
whatever is going on with him. If he wants to talk to me about something, yeah. So it gives him the chance to become himself. Exactly. So
So your true
communication
self is
becomes as
revealed
yes,
when you're, oh,
yes.
yeah,
So communication becomes better at
yeah,
that instant moment. Sometimes you start a relationship and you be complaining, why are you not opening up to me? Why not? I mean, it's not by force, like you said, it is growth, it's a process. You get there.
yeah.
You yourself have to be patient enough and know how to communicate to bring the person out of that shell.
So viewers, we have just heard from our wonderful speakers or panelists. Yes, so now we've just established that compassion is showing empathy, being understanding, and then showing kindness to people or others, your friends, your partner. And then vulnerability is the willingness to allow others into your inner circle, like your partner, right? Aside the fact that you love your guy or you love your woman, what will make her really believe that you love her? What will really make him believe that you also love him, right? All these things also makes you know how best to navigate yourselves in your relationship. So know that love goes with compassion. Compassion goes with vulnerability. And it is very essential, important in a relationship, especially if you want it to last long.
Yeah.
And also, Gifty mentioned something,
Exactly.
and I was very happy about it, about communication, right? We are growing. So as you are growing, as you are developing yourself in your relationship, know how to communicate with yourselves and know how to know what your partner likes and doesn't
Yeah.
like. It will help you a long way. Yes. So moving on, we have a very interesting topic. And we are taking that from Matthew 18, verse 21 to 35. Remember,
Let me check.
LDL is all about the word of God to
Sure.
align us to the will of God. So I'll be reading that story briefly and then we'll have a discussion on it. Yes, so I am reading Matthew 18, 21 to 35. It says, Then Peter came to him and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Up to 7 times. Jesus said to him, I do not say to you up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who wanted to settle accounts with his servants. And when he had begun to settle accounts, one was brought to him who owed him 10,000 talents. But as he was not able to pay, his master commanded that he be sold with his wife and children and all that he had, and that payment be made. The servant therefore fell down before him, saying, Master, have patience with me, and I will pay you all. Then the master of that servant was moved with compassion, released him, and forgave him the debt. But that servant went out and found out, found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii and laid hands on him and took him by throat, saying, Pay me what you owe. So his fellow servant fell down at his feet and begged him, saying, Have patience with me, and I will pay you all. And he would not, but went and threw him into prison. Wow. Till he should pay the debts. People are wicked, oh, but well, let's go on. So when his fellow servants saw what he had done, they were very grieved and came and told their master all that had been done. Then his master, after he had called him, said to him, You wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you begged me. should you not also have had compassion on your fellow servants, just as I had pity on you? And his master was angry and delivered him to the torturers until he should pay all that was due to him. So my heavenly Father also will do to you, each of you from his heart does not forgive his brother his trespasses. Clear example of
Amen.
showing compassion. Yes, so I'm coming back to my lovely panelist.
Yes.
With this story, right? A very interesting and amazing one.
Yeah.
What do we take out from this? Like in terms of compassion, right? Because you owe your boss. Let's use it in our workplaces. We owe our boss like a certain amount of money, like 1,000 cities,
Yeah.
and then your boss is asking you to pay, it's asking you to pay, and then you're begging your boss, a boss, oh, I'm very sorry, I don't have the money right now, right? But I will work and then get for you. What is saying that if you do not pay, right, he's going to sell you and your family. He's going to sell everybody plus your properties so that he will get his money. And he still begged, and then he said, oh, fine, I've listened to you, I'll forgive you. And then somebody who is owing you, you go and then you just begin to attack the person. With this scenario, right?
Hmm.
Who was the one showing compassion here?
It's obvious now.
No, because maybe somebody will
But
try
it's
and defend.
obvious.
Try over to you.
So
Yes.
let me compare the king, right? And then the servants, and then the other one
The
who was
other
owing
fellow,
him.
yeah.
So with the king, he is compassionate enough to place himself and vulnerable enough to place himself in the shoes of someone who can be in the shoes of the one who owed him,
Yeah.
right? So because of that, if you owe someone, you can't even sleep. Sometimes you can't even
Challenge.
sleep because you have to save up money to
Oh,
pay back.
Yeah, exactly.
And that money you save and to pay back, you'll be broke at the end of the. He was compassionate enough to let go.
Because he realized he was
Exactly.
begging and all.
So you the servants, you were going, meaning he's not compassionate. You were on your
Yes,
way
that
and
is
you
true.
met another person who owes you.
Also, you
You
and
are
it's
supposed
like
to
it's
so put yourself. Look at how you were begging the king. Meaning
Oh.
you were suffering, and the king was compassionate enough to
to
help
let you
you,
go.
to
Yeah.
let you go.
Yeah.
And you were supposed to also put yourself in the shoes, as the king also did, in the shoes of
Also
the fellow
forgive
servants,
your
to
friend.
also forgive him,
Challenge
to also let it go, to also help
for the
him.
money, yeah.
The
So
king
you're going to
has
see.
the king has what the resources to actually forgive somebody. So
Yeah.
it means that the other person should have also found himself in a position like the king and be like, okay, so I have the power here. Listen, the thing is power. The king had the power to what? Forgive that debt and let the person go. So the next person should have felt like, okay, the way I'm even judging this guy, he doesn't have the thing to pay me.
Mm-hmm.
So he should I have the power now. So if you have the power, how do you use the power? So this is about the use of power, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are now establishing that
Yes.
the servant was so not compassionate.
Yeah.
Servant was very, very wrong
He
in
was so
everything.
off. And we have just learned from the beginning that compassion is about understanding, about loving someone.
Sure.
All right. So I want Gifty to share her last words with us.
Sure.
And then Mr. Boateng also share his last words about love and compassion. That is
So
to love is to help.
okay, so to love is to help, right? You should be compassionate enough. Put yourself in the shoes of people who are suffering. You are not suffering. I'm not saying you are suffering, but just put yourself in the shoes of someone you think is suffering, especially if someone owes you. And I mean, how you go and approach the person with taking back the money should be taken into consideration. Be compassionate enough. Put yourself. So if I was owing someone, would I be happy to be treated that way? Ask yourself that question. It shouldn't even be about giving or someone owing you. Just be compassionate enough to
Yeah.
at least give the person a chance to explain one.
Yeah.
Or if you can forgive the person, hallelujah. But then be compassionate. Let the word ring in your head. I am compassionate. I am compassionate. And I wouldn't want to be treated like that.
Yeah.
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 So be compassionate.
Thank you
enough.
very much, Gifty. Mr. Boateng.
Okay. So what's the topic again?
Love,
Love.
and compassion.
No. Love
Hashtag
me.
To love is to
love
help.
is
To
to
love
help.
is to help.
Confused all
You
of a
see.
sudden with
Sorry.
this shit,
So to love is to help.
right?
So it means that to have compassion, somebody who has, whenever you are in the state where you need to show compassion, it means that automatically you have a certain power, you have a certain abundance of love. That's what you give out, just as Jesus in the Bible did, you know, to actually have compassion for whilst he was ministering when he was alive, to the point of even dying on the cross for us.
Yeah.
You know, we did not deserve it, but then in the end, he just looked
Did
at
it.
us. He just saw us with all the filth and then all the sin and everything, and then he decided to have compassion on us. We did not deserve it in the first place. We didn't even know that something like that was available. You know that people that you show compassion to may not actually know that something like that is available to them. The person is going through that thing. The person doesn't know that there's something like love that is available to make you feel okay and comfortable whilst you are in that state. Mm.
Oh, thank you very
So
much, Uncle Philip. And also to my viewers, right? This one is just a simple one to add. For you to love, to grow in love, you need to have compassion.
Yeah.
So, my people, it is a process. Do not rush it. Just allow yourself to grow in love. Just allow yourself to embrace compassion. And then in the end, you just enjoy the fruitfulness of it. Right. So, thank you very much, our viewers, for watching this
thank
video.
you.
Thank you very much for subscribing if you already have. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like, comment, and share to your friends. We love you. See you next time. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye from Audio.